Hi there and welcome. I wanted to tune into a little video about processing and releasing when it comes to your energy field. So please enjoy this video. Before we get started, let's just take a few breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. And in through our nose and out through our mouth. And as we breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, we allow our body to relax, 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 relax. And as we invite a space of relaxation, we open up our energies to the ancestors, loved ones, and friends to come together today to heal and guide us and lift us to the highest version of ourselves in the light of the universe. So you may hear what you need to hear, know what you need to know, connect how you need to connect, and be what you need to be for your highest and best good and the highest and best good of all involved as we tune in to how to process and release. Hey there and welcome. Today I thought I would give a little connection with the idea of processing and releasing in our energy field. One of the things that I always run into in the many healings that I do and readings that I give and connections that I have with people is that we all know we should be processing and releasing, but the challenge is that we don't really get the instructions on what that looks like or how that might play into our system. And so, I'm always going through explaining to people and trying to help them navigate what process and releasing may mean in their energetic field for their system. So I thought I would do this little video to kind of go through processing and releasing and the value of it and how you can sit with it and work with that in your own way in order to create healing. I'm not going to get into the who, what, whens, and whys we need to process and release, but I certainly am just going to try and tap into the how, like how do you do so? And we can talk for days and hours on why it's necessary, but we're just going to tune into the process of how. All right, so I'm going to angle the camera down so you can look at my paper. And we're just going to go through a little basic energy right now. So when we think about the energy field, there's your beautiful body. And we know that the energy of the universe is a neutral energy that moves up and through the body. And the first thing I want to say before anybody gets upset or starts to critique, obviously we know that energy is not linear and drawing on a piece of paper has to be. So we're doing this for example purposes. Obviously, energy moves fluidly through your body in many different directions. So we'll just put that out there so you know. So that neutral energy comes up and through the body. And what it does is create the aura. And the aura is like the cat's whiskers of the energy field. It is the first sense of energy that we have when we come up and, viewing the energy system. It is, when we walk into a room and we feel good or not good about that room, it is the aura that gives us our first sense. So that's the cat's whiskers of the energy system. And then we have the chakras, and there are thousands of chakras throughout the body, but I usually teach the major 8 when we work on processing and releasing. So we have our red root chakra that works with our sense of safety and security. It helps us feel grounded and connected and tuned in. And then we have our orange sacral, and the orange sacral works with fun, frivolity, and play. It also is where our self-trust is stored. We have our yellow solar plexus, and the yellow solar plexus work with willpower and empowerment, but they also help us with our emotional communication and our self-esteem. And then we have our green heart center. That is where our moral value structures and standards are stored. It is where love and compassion and understanding reside within the body. We have our blue throat chakra, which works with feeling seen and being seen, feeling heard and being heard, as well as our verbal communications. We have our indigo third eye, which works with the idea of an insight, understanding, and knowledge, seeing the big picture, how we can create solutions. We have our violet crown, which works with feeling whole and being whole. It works with the connectivity of the self and feeling fulfilled. And then we have the seat of the soul, which is translucent. That works with connectivity to higher vibrations, all beings, the interconnectedness of all things. So when we look at that and how that flows through the system, then the chakras are like the body's batteries. They are what keeps the system invigorated. They assimilate the energy and move it up and through the body in that way, so that process can be charged and whole and heal as it goes through. But then we're going to talk about the three intuitions, or the three parts of the soul. And the first parts of the intuitions are the carnal intuitions. They have this red root, orange sacral, yellow solar plexus, and they house this in a way where they glean information from the physical body. In that, they also use the intuition of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So that's where our sense of safety and security come into play. The true self, or the true intuition, has that emotional communication chakra as well as the verbal communication chakra, and it gets its information from the emotional body, with that heart center being at the center. Its intuition is knowing, and some people call that women's intuition, but everyone has it. And so we have fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, knowing, and then the higher self overlaps that verbal communication in those upper chakras, tuning into that higher self space that gets its information from the energy body, and its intuition is prophecy. And some people can say, well, I don't have a sense of prophecy, but truly we all do. That's anything from dreams and deja vu into visions of the future. So when we have a clean, clear system, this is what it looks like. But oftentimes, because humans are the only self-sabotaging creatures in the planet, we hold things in our energy system. We think, if I touch the fire 22 times, I'm going to learn more that it is hot, instead of realizing I touched the fire once and I trust myself and I can move past it. So that's what we're here to talk about today, is how we process and release in a healthy way without having to hold in our energy what we don't like in order to learn the lesson. And you can think, my joke here is, it's not the one time somebody hurt your feelings. It's the 1,000 times you checked on Facebook that holds it in your energy field. So we're going to talk about what that's like, what that is, about moving it through the system. The other thing that I want to urge you to remember is that thoughts and feelings happen. We can't control their creation. They just come forward as a part of who we are. What we have power over is what we do with them, how we allow them to process and release through the system in a way that is healthy. The other thing I want to bring up here is this is not meant to take place of your therapist, or meant to override any Western medicine practices that you may be doing. This is meant to be in conjunction to support your energy body, so you can do the right things for your emotional body and your physical body as well. So it works in that trilogy. So let's say you have something that you don't like. Someone did something that made you feel like you could not stay grounded, were insecure, or unseated in some way. Someone made an action that made you uncomfortable in your root base, your sense of safety and security. What processing and releasing would look like is I had this feeling, and we're not talking about physically unsafe, someone threatened you with a weapon. We're talking about I was in a situation where someone critiqued me to a point where I felt like that they were attacking, or someone made a choice or decision that made me feel unsafe or insecure as far as my my being is, not physical safety, although this would work for physical safety as well. But we're going to talk about just the feelings of insecurity. So someone made a choice to make you feel insecure. And then how we take power back over that is to move it up into that sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra says, like, I can trust that although something happens that I don't like, that I trust myself enough to know that, I don't have to take it on as mine. I don't have to become over responsible for it. I know what's mine and what's not. I can have the self-trust enough to realize what is theirs and what is mine, and how I only hold what is mine in this through that self-trust. Then we move it up to our yellow solar plexus, and the solar plexus allow us to understand we are empowered to make a different choice. Something happened I didn't like. I can stand in my truth of myself to know what's mine about that and what's not mine, not taking it personally, as we would say. Then we move it up to say, in my piece of empowerment, I can really tune into how I feel about this and make an empowered choice or decision in what I would like to do about it. And that's when we move it up to our heart center. And moving it up to our heart center allows us to approach the situation with love and compassion. It allows for us to understand, while we may not have liked what happened, we too have made mistakes in the past. So we're not going to judge the person, we're going to judge the action, so to say, or whatever that compassion looks like to you. Then we move it up to the throat center. And we know we have a voice. We can say, I did not like that. Please don't do it again. I did not like that. This is what I would like the next time. I did not like that. Here's what I need in order to, feel comfortable moving forward. Then we move it up to insight, understanding, and knowledge. And that gives us the ability to be able to look at it and say, I can see how this could be different next time. I can make this different choice in that way. It gives us that ability to have foresight and say, like, instead of using hindsight and touching that hot fire 100 times, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have blah, blah, blah. We look forward at what can I do next time? Where is my power? What is my choice in the future? And then we move it up to feeling whole, which says just because a misstep happened, just because something happened I didn't like, it doesn't change who I am as a person. Challenge is not suffering. So I know through challenge, I learn and I grow and I move forward. Suffering creates more wounds. And so by moving this up through and empowering ourselves, we move into the solution based of the challenge versus multiplying it into suffering. And then we give it up to spirit. Whatever connection you have in that way, it can be the universal collective energy, it could be whatever name you give it, but we give it up knowing that the sum is always greater than the one. And so when we move this through our system and process it out, it transmutes back into the energy of the universe and allows for a cleaner, clearer flow of our energy field. So that's what processing and releasing looks like in the energy system. And I would hope that, obviously you're not going to watch this video and the first time that something happens, get it right the first time. But what you want to do is practice that, like sit every day and tune in to see, where is this coming from? Is it moving up? Is it getting stuck? Is it, creating challenge or difficulty? Or am I really seeing it move through until I can give it up to spirit? So let me know in the comments how it works for you. There are also plenty of courses for you to tune into. I have an Intro to Chakras course that not only goes through like the power of each one, but gives lots of really hearty information on how to connect with them. I have an Understanding Energy and Action course that's much more in depth and much more detailed, that allows for you to really understand your energy systems and gets into not only just these parts that we kind of breezed over quickly, but really in depth the other parts as well. I have a manifestation course. I do Reiki 1 and 2 online with personal attunements for each student. So there's lots of ways that you can tap into becoming accountable and responsible, as well as healthy, well, and whole in your energy system. I hope that you all are well and that you're in good spirits and that you feel whole and that you're blessed.